Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm still in Arizona. So, market's up again. We are finally starting to see some of the neutrals. Remember, I've been talking about the neutrals, those people who have been sitting on the fence really all of last year and even up until the first week or two of this year. Finally starting to see some of the neutrals come off the fence in this rally, and that's something I had predicted for a long time. I said eventually much higher stock prices, which is what we're seeing right now, are going to pull the neutrals off the fence. They waited and they waited and they waited until they couldn't take it anymore, and now they're jumping into the market and they're buying. And they're probably buying because they waited for the perfect scenario. They wanted the trade deal to be signed. And now all of a sudden everything becomes so bullish. I mean, never mind the fact that all the economic indicators were not just positive, but accelerating higher last year. I was talking about that consistently, week after week after week. That's what we saw. So they waited and they waited and they waited. Could have bought much lower. Individual stocks much lower. The stock indices much lower. But they waited and they waited. That is not a way to make money. There is only one way to make, you know what? Forget about money. I mean, all advances in human history come from thinking differently, from challenging the status quo, from taking a chance. I mean, you can just think about it. Every single invention, no, that can't be done. Every single new discovery, hey, the earth is flat, you're going to fall off the end. How about this one? The sun revolves around the earth. Copernicus, right? I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And all great fortunes the same way. Some new invention, a new way of seeing something. In speculation, it is imperative to go against the crowd. Absolutely imperative to go against the crowd. That's how the big money is made. When everybody believes a certain thing, markets are discounting mechanisms. They discount the expectations of the crowd, of participants. When everybody believes the same thing, it's already baked in. You got to be then looking for evidence that conditions are shifting in the other direction. And they are. I mean, we have seen it. We have seen it in economic indicators. We have seen it in various markets that I've been talking about, falling off in demand. We are seeing it or have seen it in the banking metrics. Now, maybe it's going to be a temporary thing. But it seems like each day, more elements of that kind of weak scenario picture start to pop up. So if it was a temporary thing, you would see maybe in one aspect of the economy, there would be signs of some weakness and then it would be dissipating. But that is not the case right now. But let's give it a little bit more time. Even so, you have to be selling into this rally. The fact that we see the neutrals jumping off the fence right now, I mean, they had all last year. Even the end of last year, let's say they weren't savvy enough. Let's say people were legitimately scared last year and they didn't want to get in because of the headlines, the trade war headlines, the inverted yield curve. They're listening to Wall Street, so-called experts about how that was going to lead to a recession. So they stayed out. Let's give them that. But now, late in the year, they also had the opportunity to get in. They didn't get in. The neutrals stayed on the fence at very high levels, elevated over historic levels. And only now, when we're busting up like really, day after day after day of new highs, and only in the last week, because even 2 weeks ago, they were still on the fence. Now they're throwing in the fence. I mean, they're jumping off the fence. They're throwing in the towel. So you decide. But I've seen this movie before, folks. I've seen it a million times before. I mean, we don't even have to go back that far for the reverse sort of scenario when the deviation was on the downside, the deviation to the actual fundamentals. The market was collapsing at the end of 2018 when things were getting better. And I said, you got to buy into that. You got to buy into that. Did it go past my initial buy recommendation? Yeah, but so what? I mean, that comes down to mental game. That comes down to proper management of yourself, of your position, not overexposing yourself where you are subject to a forced liquidation. Forced liquidation shouldn't happen. It means you're impatient. That is a symptom of impatience. Like your position is too big because you want the money. You want big money and you want it right now. You want it fast. You can't wait. I've been all over this concept of impatience. The market gives you everything you want, including losses if that's what you want. And believe me, that's a choice. And most people choose losses. But the market gives you everything you want. The only determinant, the only true determinant is time. And that's applicable to everything in our existence. It's all about time. We only have limited time here on this earth, alive. It's all about time. That's the only thing that matters. The market will give you everything you want. The only determinant is time. So let's see what happens, folks. We got another big rally going on here today. Everybody, the neutrals are jumping off the fence. They're throwing in the towel. They're buying. They were out of this market. They were sitting on the fence all last year. High levels of neutrals. No matter what happened, they didn't want to have any part of it. Great opportunities, attractively priced stocks, low indices, increasing, expanding economic activity, accelerating economic activity, banking metrics, you name it. It was all there. Now that stuff is all kind of trailing off, and they want it. They want in so bad. And just in the last week, they didn't even get in 2 weeks ago. They want it right now. So let's see what happens. I'll be back at you later.